Hello and welcome to the Quarterly Romance Book Club. I am your host, Desirai. You're on my channel, LibriLabra, and I am joined by Chloe from Brunette Bibliophile. And today we are talking about The Deal by Elle Kennedy, which is a hockey romance. And I'm going to let you do initial thoughts first.
Okay. Hi, my name is Chloe. I feel like I need a little height here. I normally have like a book underneath, so I'll have to get that in a second. Hi. I run the booktube channel Brunette Bibliophile. You can find me on most social medias either at Brunette Bibliophile or at Brunette Biblio. I gave this one 4 stars, and I feel like it took a little bit to get to that point because I was like, I don't know. But I gave it 4 stars. Have I read any hockey romance before? I don't know. This is I don't even know what my thoughts are. This is a really hyped hockey romance, and we finally read it, and I don't even know what to say. A lot of the stuff I want to say is like later on.
Spoiler stuff.
Yeah, I liked it. I am going to continue on with the series.
Is that your first copy of The Deal, or did you get a second copy?
This is my second copy.
Okay, just checking.
I'm going to get rid of the other copy because
Right.
the other copy is
The one that I have.
Well, the other copy is even before it got really popular. It was like self-published first. So that's what I had. And I got it super cheap. It was like $5 because I got it secondhand. I liked it enough to start getting the special covers with the sprayed edges. I don't know what to talk about in initial thoughts. I liked it. This is probably my first like hockey centric romance. I've read others that have hockey elements in it, but like this one is like more at the forefront. I was a little annoyed in the beginning of the book, which we can talk about in a little bit. And part of me questioned whether I was actually going to like this book at some point, which we can also talk about in a little bit. I don't recommend the audiobook because the female narrator sucks. The main male narrator was great. I gave it 4 stars.
I also gave it 4 stars. And I agree with you because I was listening to the audiobook as well. And I found myself going back and forth between this feels really believable and this doesn't feel really believable. And I think it had to be the fact that the female narrator just wasn't getting the right intonations, or like, like there were moments in the book that you would think were really serious. It just didn't feel serious. Like, we should probably also go over trigger warnings at some point. But I'm sad at how much the audio, only her chapters though, hindered my reading experience, because I think it would have been different. Maybe I would have given it a 5 if I have just strictly read it with my eyes. I don't know. I think like it kind of felt like the beginning maybe could have been shorter too. Like I feel like the beginning kind of went on for a really long time before like anything happens.
I feel like well, yeah, it is about 3. It's almost 400 pages. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, there's a bonus scene. I have to read the bonus scene after. There wasn't a bonus scene when I read it.
Is it a bonus scene or is it like
a page and a half.
preview from? Oh, okay.
Definitely a bonus scene. Oh no, sorry, it's 3.5 pages. The pages were sticking together a little bit.
So as far as content warnings go, there is mention of rape. There is an abusive parent, like a physically abusive parent. What else was there?
I wrote down parental abuse / violence, mentions of rape, death of a parent off page, and domestic abuse.
Yeah. And I had no idea of any of that going into it.
I thought this was a lighthearted read.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought it was going to be a little bit lighthearted. I think at this point we could probably jump into like spoiler territory because there's like so many things. There's just a lot of stuff. I have a lot of thoughts about the story.
He annoyed the crap out of me at the beginning because he wouldn't leave her alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's not what made me think I wasn't going to like it, but it was just annoying.
Well, that is part of like one of my overarching issues with it, because you have a main character who has experienced rape, right? So like already she's had this very traumatizing experience where she said no and nobody listened to her. And then like a good 1/3 of the book is him being like, tutor me, and she's like, no. Right? So like we're repeating this thing where people aren't listening to her say no. And then there's other areas of the book where they ask her name and she tells them her name and they're like, no, we're going to call you this. Which again just shows like even more disrespect, how people were not like accepting her responses and her answers and just like totally disregarding um what she was saying. And like that just made me really uncomfortable.
I didn't even think about the whole like correlation between like telling him no to tutoring him and be like and the rape. Which I mean, it was off page, so I feel like I wouldn't have put that correlation together if you hadn't had said something. The nickname thing, I think that was kind of more like a lighthearted thing, just because it was like, well, you can call me Hannah, and I like Wellesley. I
But
mean,
he
it was,
wasn't the only person that did that. I think one of his hockey friends said was
yeah,
like, "Oh,
that's
I like Wellesley better too." And it's just like, I don't know if you've ever had somebody call you something that you didn't want them to call you, but it's not regardless of what their intentions are, it's never a fun experience. I just feel like there's just disrespect happening there. Like call the person what they want to be called, whether that's doctor or Mrs. or like professor, whatever. Like for you to say my name is Professor so and so, and the students like, I'll call you Prof. Like it's not okay. I don't know.
unless you're not a professor and you go up, you can call me Professor.
So all of that kind of made me uncomfortable, and I think that again it was probably the narrator, but when it even came up that she had been raped, I felt like it was dropped so nonchalantly. Like it was like I had to kind of rewind and go back and be like, wait, did she say what I think she just said? Because it just, again, I don't know if it was the narrator or the writing itself, but it felt like it was just very dropped. It was dropped in the story very unseriously at the beginning. And this ends up being a reason, which completely understandable reason, that the main character Hannah has like sort of what she feels like is a sexual dysfunction, right? Where she can't climax with partners because of what happened to her. And I have no doubt that this genuinely happens to people, and this is a struggle for people. But the way it was like worked into the book made me uncomfortable. Like that being the reason to make this smutty. I don't know. That it was just like I was kept thinking about it, and I was like, how uncomfortable should I be here? Like I get that this could really happen. And again, it may have just been the delivery of the lines on the female's part, but all of that made me uncomfortable.
Are you sure this is a 4-star read for you? When you told me, when I asked you for your rating, you were like 4, I guess. I'm like, are you sure?
I think it's a 4 because I will be continuing on in the series. And I'm leaning towards this being a narrator issue because of how believable the guy's part felt. Like I didn't question anything on his end at all. Like not even the dialogue, but when she delivered dialogue, I was like, oh, this dialogue is weird. But it's probably just her delivery of it.
I was gonna say, because currently it feels like you're talking about how the rape seems to have come out of nowhere, and I'm like, that's not a narrator issue, that's a plot issue.
Yeah, but like the delivery of it is still important too. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a difference between being like, I was raped, and like, I was raped. I don't know. There's just a difference. There's a difference there. And there was something about the way she delivered those lines that I was like, hold on a second.
It may have been a bit more like, yeah, impactful if you had read it with your eyeballs. I don't remember if at that point I was listening or if I was reading with my eyes, because at first it was, what was I doing? I was reading with my eyes, and I got like 8 chapters in, And then I ended up getting the audiobook because it was only $2. Regret that. But I did get through it a lot faster. I had a day where I was driving around and I had appointments and whatnot. And I got from chapter 8 to chapter 16 just when I was driving around. And then for the rest of that day, I just ended up going between the audiobook and the ebook. And that definitely made it faster. But yeah, the female narrator sucks.
Well, how did you feel about the dialogue? Did you have any issues with the dialogue? Because I know that it wanted to be bantery, and it just wasn't like the banter that I'm looking for. Like,
I don't think I had an issue with the dialogue, at least when I was like physically reading it. Because I feel like because with that you like set the you set the pace of the voice and the tone in your own mind, whereas with the audiobook you're not. So I don't feel like I had any issues with the dialogue. I can't pinpoint exactly what I listened to versus what I read. I can tell you I read a good chunk of the book with my eyes. But there was at least 10 to 15 chapters that I read with the audiobook. Yeah. I felt that like about a third of the way through, I was questioning whether I was actually going to enjoy this book or not. But I think a lot of it had to do with like I was a little bored, in the sense of like for a while it's going back and forth between tutor me, no, all that, and then him going to her job to try and do it. That was weird, and a little creepy.
yeah. It's just a lot of like crossing boundaries is what it felt
Yeah.
like.
But then it was just the tutoring and her being like crotchety about having to tutor him now. But then I feel like when they formed a friendship first, that's when I was like, okay, I'm starting to enjoy this book now.
Was it when like the fake dating started?
I guess if that's when the friendship formed.
Because then they had to hang out and like show up places together.
Yeah.
And he was like, how did you feel about, I don't even remember their names, Hannah and what? Graham? Or was that his last name?
Or no, Garrett Graham.
Garrett. How did you feel about his cockiness?
In what sense?
I mean, not only was he not taking no for an answer about tutoring, but then he was like, I'll put you on the map. Like everybody wants to like.
I mean, I get what he was saying, like as far as it being like a turning point in the plot. I'm neither here nor there on it. I feel like he really like sobered up after he found out about the rape and everything, and not necessarily started taking things seriously. I mean, he did, but I don't know. He saw her differently, and not as some sort of like prude for not wanting to go out. Like there is a valid reason.
Am I alone in feeling uncomfortable with the whole like I can't orgasm with anybody, let's bang? Like
I don't know. Because I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to address that one.
Because like he seemed like, I don't know if she was drunk in that moment. She might have been when she first brought it up, because he was like, what are you talking about? Like you don't want this. And she was like, yes I do, yes I do.
I think she reached that point because she became very comfortable with him. So I guess if she found comfort in him.
I appreciate that after he like found out that she had been raped, that he went and he like, without mentioning her or anything, like he went and talked to people and was kind of doing his own research because he wanted to respect her and make her feel comfortable. And so that was pretty cool. And I guess it was just nice to see a different side of him, because obviously the whole beginning of the book, it's like, oh, he's so arrogant, he's a jerk, he's this, he's that. And, he turns out to be a relatively nice guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else she had going on besides that. I guess she had parents that lived somewhere else that she couldn't. That was a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that. The lawsuit and
Mm-hmm.
the financial issues and all that. Yeah.
So, if I remember correctly, after things had happened, the father of one of the friends of the guy that had raped her said something really inappropriate
to the
to the
dad.
dad. Yeah. And so her dad basically beat him up.
Beat the shit out of him. Wasn't she from like a small town?
It sounded like it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. There was no escaping it, which is why she didn't go back. She didn't, because everybody knew and everybody had a vision of her or whatever. So that's just like all of that's just a lot. It's a lot that she was dealing with all of that, and then on his end, he had a whole bunch of family. Drama is not the right word, but family issues, trauma, really. Growing up with an abusive father who, again, was a bit of a narcissist and only cared about his own legacy and was very much like, oh, you have to be a pro hockey player.
I think what this book boils down to is you have two people with their own individual trauma coming together. It is trauma of two people who find love with each other. And they work through it together. Well, yeah, I guess he does too. They work through it together.
I mean, so there's like the third act breakup, right?
What happened again, though? Why was the reason that they... Oh, because
the father, the dad was like, I'm going to cut him off if you don't stop seeing him. Because
but he never gave up, though. He was like, this is some bullshit. Garrett.
That's tough. He didn't give up. But the fact that he was like, because I think she told him she wanted to see other people or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, are you seeing other people yet? Are you seeing other people yet? How many people have you seen this week?
Because he knew she was full of shit.
I feel like it just got so much more serious when it became about his dad, because like you see like very small glimpses of his dad being a jerk, but then like his dad starts showing up to the game, right? Exactly. And then they're like, the dad's girlfriend or his fiance or whatever it was, she was acting skittish and had bruises, and so it was just a lot. I feel like that Garrett had a lot going on. I mean, obviously it's a romance, so I'm sure you thought they were going to get back together. Did you think that's what the third act breakup was going to look like? Did you think it was going to be the dad stepping in? And
I didn't. Okay, well, with the third act breakup, I didn't think he was just like not going to accept it. He's just like, no. He's like, are you seeing other people? Are you seeing other people? But I mean, there's been a lot of conversation in, I don't know about the romance world, but in the book world about how the third act breakup is just overdone at this point. But I feel like it's a staple of.
I think so.
But I mean, I've seen recently in a couple of books, not too many, like it's a third act breakup, but it's not like a traditional third act breakup. I wouldn't call this necessarily a traditional third act breakup because he didn't believe in it. And I want to talk about another book as an example, but you haven't read it yet, so I can't. Eventually.
I don't know if like I was just so in romance brain that I was tuning out the hockey, but I didn't feel like there was enough hockey.
I definitely feel that I want to read more hockey romances. Like, I mean, just looking at my shelves from here, I can definitely see one. But I want to read more. I think I had, oh, and what's the other one? I don't have it, but Pucking Around. I want to read that too. It kind of
That
like
one's
opened the
so
door where I'm like,
long.
what'd you say?
I said that one's so long.
I don't even think you're going to read it just because
You know
like
what?
a prequel.
I actually almost bought that at Barnes and Noble the other day. The book, I have been looking for it, and they finally had the copies back in, and then the title was like glitter script, and I was like, that's so pretty.
If you find it, I want one. But I don't think you're going to like it.
I don't think I am either, but I'm probably going to buy it and read it.
Okay, if you see the glitter script, I want one. Second of all, if you don't think you're going to like it, just get it from the library. But that's a conversation for later. I don't know. I feel like like hockey romance it's a big thing. I feel like it might be slowing down on its excitement as it was like last year. I feel like it was like really high excitement. But I definitely want to read more hockey romance. There's not a lot on my radar, but I want to read more. I've read some and I have like some other just sports romance too in general.
This whole series isn't hockey though, right? Just the first one?
No, I think it is kind of all hockey because it follows different characters, but I feel like we're going to be like rotating through the friend group.
Okay.
Yeah. I only have one of the other books, so I don't know. Target did me dirty, and I'm trying to get all the new covers. I saw them all while I was out. I saw them at Barnes & Noble and at Books A Million, and I was like, let me try Target because they had a sale going on, and I only found these two so far. So, not that I'll get to them anytime soon.
I didn't even read this that long ago, but for whatever reason, the details are escaping me. Oh, well, we might as well talk about the fact that she walked in on him having sex with somebody.
I think that just because that was at the beginning of their like tutoring relationship, wasn't it? No,
I don't know. I think they had been hanging out for a while at that point.
I think so, but I don't think they were in like the friends stage yet. I think it kind of just solidified her thoughts on him being a player for a little bit until like they became actual friends.
That whole thing was stupid, though. Like everything about it. Like the fact that like she was like, "Hey, so I'm coming over at 7, not at 9." And
I think he was being a jerk about that though. Like on purpose.
You think he purposely forgot? Like
no, like when on the phone call when she's like, I need to come over at 7, not 9 o'clock. Okay, great. See you at 9 o'clock. And kept doing that.
Just to disregard.
Yes.
Just another reason to disregard what she was saying. But then she got there and the friends were like, I wouldn't go up there if I were you.
Like, take a hint. Read the room. That's on her at that point. At that point, that's on her. Read the room.
Do you feel like had that been me, I would have been heartbroken, I think. Like, I know she was still kind of figuring out her feelings for him, but I don't know. That would have been a really big deal to me.
I don't know. I can't remember where it was, like, in the plot.
The book? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like it was forgotten about very quickly, though.
Yeah, well.
So,
I have something that's kind of nitpicky. Like, super nitpicky. I even wrote down the chapter it was in.
Oh, boy.
No, I'm going to find it. Hold on. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. But I just want to find it. She was on the phone with her mom. Oh, God, hold on. I'm in the right chapter, but I opened it up to a spicy scene. Also, since it's the sprayed edges, they're all like crackly as the pages are coming apart. She was on the phone with her mom, and they were trying. Oh, here it is. Okay, it was about global warming. That's why
I remember that. She was talking shit about her parents talking about global warming.
Here it is. Of course we are. And then she cuts her off. I swear to God, Mom, if you say global warming, I'm hanging up. And since I warn her, because as much as I love my parents, their global warming lectures drive me up the wall. It's a serious topic. It's a very relevant. I mean, this came out in 2015, but it's a serious topic. So I was like, what is she riffing on global warming for? These are conversations we need to be having.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of gave me pause as I was reading it. I was like, wait, what?
Right?
What?
Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like super nitpicky.
I think what's really funny that like has nothing to do with anything, but like I don't know if you saw on Facebook. I just went and I saw The Princess Bride again, right? And I met Carrie Elwes. So The Princess Bride is like super fresh on my brain. And the fact that it was mentioned in this book, not only in this book, but also in Part of Your World that I just finished reading, I was like, that's kind of weird. Because I don't think I can remember any other time that it was like referenced. I'm sure it's in other books, but like the fact that I picked up 2 books that referenced The Princess Bride, one after the other, is wild to me. So I'm trying to think of like what their banter was missing, or that I felt like there was just an aspect of it that felt like a tiny bit forced. Like it just wasn't as smooth as other banter that I've heard.
I don't know.
Because they were definitely like, you know, going back and forth and pooping on each other.
Each other.
You know, like, yes. Let's see. What did you think of the smut?
There's a lot more than I expected.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Because I didn't know what this book was about until we started reading it. I was like,
was there though?
I was like, hockey romance. Cool. Because, like, let's see.
Was there multiple scenes or just like that one big one? You know, because sometimes a romance book just has a full chapter dedicated to the smut and that's it. Like, was it like that?
I think there was like one big one and then like a lot of like medium-sized ones. A lot of medium-sized dumps. Yeah, it's like, this book is not what you think it's going to be about, essentially, I feel like. Not from reading that synopsis.
Okay, but is it spicy or smutty? Where does it fall in the Venn diagram?
Like, how many chili peppers does it have? Okay, no, okay, the Venn diagram. Sorry, I know what you're talking about, the TikTok. So,
because I would say it was spicy.
Shit, I'm trying to remember there's erotica,
right, which is like all
smut,
sex, and then smut is like half and half, and then spicy is like more plot.
Spice is there's plot with a little bit of sex, but if you take the sex away, you still have plot. Smut is like equal sex, equal plot, and then erotica is just if you take the sex away, it makes no sense. I would say, I think it's kind of smut. It's not erotica, but if you took the sex away, it's not going to make any more sense because you're not going to have the rest of the plot. But it's definitely not because she wants to have a sexual education, but if you take away the sex, then there's no plot. I mean, I guess if you make it closed door, but that's boring.
That's boring.
Or fade to black.
I don't know what I want to say. You're saying that there was more than you were expecting. I think it had less than I was expecting. Which, like, I've been picking up these hockey romances, but maybe it's just because of pucking around, but like I'm just scared that one of them is going to be like 95% sex, and that's the one that I'm not going to enjoy.
And yet you want to buy pucking around.
I asked somebody, I said, if you were to like provide a ratio of how much plot to sex there was, what would you say? And she was like, oh, I would say 80% plot, 20% sex. And I was like, I can handle that. But if it goes beyond... Did you ask
somebody in the store that?
No! No, I asked somebody on Instagram.
Okay, I obviously I've never read it. I've only read the prequel.
Right.
And the prequel is, I mean, it's short. It's only like 2 hours, but it's a one night stand trope. So I feel like yes, there's going to be a lot of sex, but this book is a why choose. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they lied to you. I'm gonna go with a 55-45 on that one.
Oh, snap.
I've never read it, so that's just
Hold
my
on. I'm going to see
prediction.
if I have the ebook. But
Probably on. Oh no, you don't have Kindle Unlimited, do you?
I don't.
I was gonna say it's probably on Kindle Unlimited. Actually, it is. I had it for a while.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any of those. Pucking around, pucking sweet, pucking wild.
What's pucking sweet? I gotta go to Goodreads.
Pucking ever after.
Oh, I think that's one of like the short story books.
Okay, so pucking sweet says an MMF workplace hockey romance.
For pucking around.
Pucking sweet.
Oh wait, there's pucking sweet. Oh, it's the new one. It comes out this year.
Mm.
Okay, I didn't know that. Man, I need to really get on these then. Yeah, pucking around is a spicy why choose hockey romance.
Oh, okay. So her character, right? Like he's a hockey player. We know he's a hockey player. He's talking to his teammates. He is doing hockey things. He's training. He's eating a lot. I feel like we really get a sense of, at least more so than her, that he's a hockey player. But she is like this singer musician that is like supposed to be prepping for this showcase to possibly get a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again, don't know if it was the narrator, but I just couldn't buy into it. Like it didn't feel believable to me. Like it just felt like a detail that was kind of sprinkled in there. Like, yeah, sure, in the background she's a singer. And even though like she sang in front of him and sang for him on the phone at some point, I just didn't believe she was a musical artist.
What are you talking about? We saw her doing practice like so many times.
Yeah, but was that really doing practice, or was she just complaining about Cass?
I mean,
Because
what
he
else?
was like trying to run the show, and then like MJ was whatever. I don't know. I just didn't believe it.
You were having a rough time.
It wasn't convincing me.
And again, I want to go back to, are you sure this is 4 stars? Because you follow the Goodreads rating system.
Yes.
This is not a 4-star book for you then. If you follow the Goodreads rating system, this sounds to me like it's for you either a 3 or a 2.5.
It's definitely not a 2.5.
I would say it's a 3 then.
So a 3, like the Goodreads rating system is 3, I liked it. And 4, I really liked it. And like I think it switched over to a 4 towards the end. Like when they went to Thanksgiving, I think that's when it switched over for me, because then we started seeing this whole side of Garrett that we hadn't seen before, and he was just being awesome. Like I don't remember what the fiance's name was or whatever, but you know, the fact that he was like, I know the way my dad is. If you need help, I'll help you. And then how he stuck it out with her not talking to him.
So you're telling me it took you 75% of the book
to go from a 3 to a 4? That's not that bad.
I feel like so many things that you're saying though, like this is a 3-star for you. Now, here's the thing though, and I know that you say this a lot with some of our book club books. You should reread this with your eyeballs. I feel like there's a lot of not with Quarterly so much as it is with BookTube Chicks Book Club. There's so many books you're like, I need to do a reread. It could change on a reread. I'm like, you need to reread this one with your eyes.
I am willing to do that, but I definitely want to give it enough time to where I forget about it a little bit. Like I really want that reread to be super fresh, so I'm not thinking about that narrator.
Give it 6 months.
So
this is a question that's not about the book. I'm just curious at this point. Of all the books that you say you're going to go back and reread for book club, how often do you go back and reread them?
I mean, and finish them? This is funny because I was in lecture today for work, and I asked the student every month, I'm like, what do you geek out about? And one of the students, for the first time ever, because I always have like relatively the same answers, it's usually like anime, video games, or music, right? But this person specifically said, I like to reread books. And I was like, really? I was like, that's awesome. Like, what do you like to reread? Like, I don't ever get around to rereading books. I just don't. And she was like, I'm rereading Twilight right now. But like, there are definitely books that I care about. I don't know. Hold on, I have a Goodreads like thing for it that said rereads. I'm about to reread The Love Hypothesis.
Yeah, you need to get on that because that's mine.
I literally just got the audiobook today.
You're gonna listen.
I'm gonna listen and annotate. Yeah. Let me see.
Oh, you said you were gonna have that to me by Love Y'all, didn't you?
That's the plan.
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm not gonna have Love Theoretically to You by Love Y'all, just so you know. I mean, it's my copy of Love Theoretically that I have, but still. I feel like you definitely need to reread that one.
Let's see. Books to reread. I mean, why did I put the Atlas 6 on there? That's weird. But I mean, I want to reread them.
We need action.
I need more time. I need more time in life. But this is a lot of pages.
How many pages is your copy?
389. Wait, no, hold on. Is it? Does this? Yes. No. This includes the next book. It includes The Mistake. Okay, so 370.
Same. And then I have a bonus scene, which I'm going to read after this, and that goes to page 374. Do you have a bonus scene?
This new thing of like romances needing 400, 500 pages, I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's too much. And I hear people say it all the time, like this could have been shorter.
I mean, I'm hit or miss. There was a book I was just recently thinking about. Last year, like in March or April, I read a book called Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. And that one is definitely, it's a longer one. It's like 400 pages. There were multiple times, and I talked about this in a couple of videos, multiple times where the main character was like, I'm never going to see him again. And then like 5 pages later, oh, hey. Like,
wait, I think I heard that from somebody else. Like I saw a review or something.
They probably could have cut off like 50 pages. 50 to 75 pages. It's a really good book. Like the ending like is a total bomb drop. Like absolutely amazing. But yeah, they could have cut off like 50 to 75 pages with all that crap.
Okay, speaking of my elevated 4-star, you said that you read My Roommate is a Vampire and you were going to give it a 4 the whole time until the end.
I actually think it was going to be a 4.5. Get your facts right. I probably actually said it in my review too. Let me look. I love that book too. You've read that, No, you haven't read that yet.
No, I haven't. It's on.
That's all right.
It's on my. I have the audiobook for it right now, so it's coming up.
Okay, so in my review, it was almost a 5-star. Then the cheesy resolution, everything bumped it down to a 4.5, but then the epilogue bumped it right back up.
So I don't know. I felt like the ending of this. Like I was happy they got back together. I was happy he didn't give up with her breaking up with him, and that whole thing being a lie. I'm glad his dad didn't win. I felt like love won.
It always does in these books that we read.
so I don't know. I liked the ending.
Is there anything else you want to talk about this book?
No, but I feel like I have to go back. I know there was like one chapter where like he invited her to his hockey game, I think. I might have to go back and read that just because
you need those hockey vibes.
Yeah, like I really feel like I'm sure they were there, but I don't know. I might have been like, they're not hanging out, they're not watching movies, they're not having sex, and I might have just like blocked it out.
You're like, I don't like hockey.
I do like hockey though, so like
you definitely probably like hockey more than me.
Yes.
Apparently, I'm a football fan now, so.
Oh. Oh my god. No, I guess we could do final thoughts and talk about what we're reading next quarter.
Okay. I gave this book 4 stars. This is the first book in a companion series. There's like 5 books in this series. And there's like 2 spin-off series, I think. So I'm definitely going to be starting to read other Elle Kennedy books. I do have another book by her. I can't talk about it because it's published by St. Martin's Press. But I'm definitely interested in reading all of her other things, including this series if I can ever get my hands on the other sprayed edge ones. But I gave this one 4 stars. It definitely does not scream like a lot of heavy topics in this book, but there definitely are. So check out trigger warnings before you go into this book. But I'm intrigued by other hockey romances now. 4 stars.
Is this like one of her first books?
I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. But I am not 100% sure on that. I actually looked at her website one day and she has a ton of stuff. But
Okay.
because this one was self-published first, I might say yes on that one.
Okay, because I feel like I started reading one of the other ones, and it was just, I remember picking it up and being like, oh, I really want to read this. Like it read a little bit differently. So I'm thinking that's just like, her perfecting her craft, kind of honing in on her skills kind of a thing.
This came out in 2015. Do you know that? That was almost 10 years ago. Isn't that insane? I was not reading rom-coms like this 10 years ago.
I mean, I don't know if I'd call this a rom-com though. Was it?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of stuff I just lump in as rom-com.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it felt heavier to me, or at least maybe it should have been, just because of some of the trauma that these characters were experiencing. But I'm just noticing that there's a hockey puck on all the chapters. Well, that's cool. I like it when the chapters have little decorations and stuff. I feel like not enough adult books do that. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I feel comfortable in my 4-star rating of this. But it's not perfect, which is fine. Not that a 5-star needs to be perfect either. I do think it was a little bit more than I just liked it, and I will continue the series. I will probably pick up her other books outside of this series, and I guess we can talk about what we're reading next quarter. Since you have a copy of it.
We don't have a live show date yet, but next quarter we're going to be reading Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren, which this I actually think is their first book. And it's the first in a series. The series has at least 3 books in it. But I think this is a billionaire romance. I actually don't know anything about this series. But knowing that I enjoy most Christina Lauren books, I'm very excited to pick this one up. But yeah, that's what we're going to be reading for quarter 2. And our live show is going to be sometime in May, probably. Like the beginning of May.
Sweet. All right. So if you are still here, thank you for joining us. And I hope you will join us next quarter. Take it easy, everyone.
Follow us on Twitter at Quarter Romance. and at BookTube Chicks.
All those things. Yes. See you guys next quarter. Bye.